Welcome to this episode of the Waves podcast. I just got done speaking with Stephen Young, aka HEDFLUX. It was a very expansive conversation. What a great, interesting, well-educated doctor and musician and alchemist and human being. As I prepared for this, I realized that he was inverting with his book, A Fool's Wisdom, and just with his research, his perspectives. He's really debunking a lot of widespread global perspectives on science that we just take for granted. You know, these laws or these theories that we have based so much of our modern world on. He's really debunking a lot of that and showing us why and how, and then redirecting people to really just come back to water, air, earth, fire, and the ether. No middle people, no middlemen, no manipulation, just you and the earth and the majesty and the marvel and the miracle that it is to be alive. So I hope you really enjoy. And he's coming all the way from Scotland to the United States. He'll be in Sebastopol with us presenting in a workshop and also presenting his HEDFLUX music, creating an ecstatic dance journey. Myself, Flo, and Lydia, aka Lummingbird, will be opening up the space, setting the space, and we'll be performing some galactic hip hop and some uplifting reggae. So if you want to catch him in person and you're in the Bay Area, please join us. And for now, enjoy the episode. All right, Stephen, what's up, brother? Welcome to the Waves podcast. And you're coming in hot from Scotland, right?
That's right. Yeah, it's Scotland here, and it's springtime, and it's absolutely beautiful. But I'm getting ready to leave for the shores of the USA in the next couple of days. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm stoked to be having this conversation with you, and yeah, what brought us together originally was I back in 2013 in the Sacred Valley. One of my friends who I was doing an ecstatic dance with said, "Hey, will you please play this song at your next ecstatic dance?" And that's how I first found out about HEDFLUX, and the song was Wanderlust.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, yeah, I'll listen to it, and if it fits, yeah, I'll play it for you. And I went home and listened to it, and then that opened my world to your music, and it's just really deep activation, medicine, journey, just thumping at times, psychedelic, and it's just it always goes over well on the dance floor. And so it's nice to years later talk to the man behind the magic.
Oh, thanks so much, man. That really means a lot. Wanderlust was a real pivotal tune for me, and a kind of pivotal moment, because before that, all the music I was making was pretty much at this exact same tempo. I was working at like 135 BPM, maybe as slow as 130, but all my tunes were in that range, very specific style and formula. And I think I'd done about 30, maybe 40 tunes in that style, and I really wanted to break out, do something different, slow down the tempo, because I was hearing a lot of mid-tempo music coming out at that time that was like really making me move in new ways. And so I thought I need to explore mid-tempo territory. So that was really my first outing into mid-tempo territory.
Interesting.
It just opened a whole new world to me, a whole new world of gigs and lots of new DJ possibilities. It is kind of an amazing tune. I can't believe I made it myself. Actually, it's pretty awesome. And I'll definitely be dropping it when I come over to Sebastopol in a few weeks. Yeah.
Right on. Well, I want to dive back into the music, but yeah, this is a good moment to talk about, that's how I first heard you. But then Paula Pratt, who is someone who I've known for years now, and I met with the Music and Sky community and festival, which I think the first one I went to was 2020, like right when COVID was thick. And and Lydia, my wife, and myself were just inundated with confusion about the whole COVID thing, and in like the separation of community. And we went to this Music and Sky Festival, and all of a sudden we found all our people and realized we weren't alone and had so much to learn. And ever since then, it's a whole alternate worldview that really reinverts the world back to somewhere that makes at least a lot more sense. It doesn't explain it all, but a lot of those intuitions and wait, what's going on? Like, wait, trust the science. Wait, why should we trust the science? And there's all of these, and then we show up there, meet Paula Pratt, who also has taught us, through our friendship and through her workshops. And she's a big fan of yours, and just reached out to me and said, "Hey, do you know HEDFLUX, Stephen? Yes. Oh, do you want to do an event with him?" And so that's where we're at. And just I mean, you know this, Stephen, but just to let you guys know that we're doing an event with Stephen all the way from Scotland, who is going to be creating a whole journey. First, a workshop, and then a ecstatic dance, a 2 hour journey with this music. And we're really excited. We're really excited about that. Can you tell us a little bit about what the workshop is going to be about and what you intend to share?
Sure, yeah. Well, I mean, just a little bit of background there, just to echo what you said. Obviously,
Yeah.
I got out to Music and Sky as well. It wasn't until 2023, but I actually met Paula there as well. But I'd met Mike Winner of Alphabetic in 2017, or yeah, it might have been 2018. No, it was 2017. And so we made that connection then, and then yeah, after COVID and that kicked off, Alphabetic were putting out lots of really good content, like criticizing what was going on and giving people access to like new information on natural health, natural science, and all that. And so I was really drawn to that community as well, and then I ended up meeting loads of great people through that community, through the Music and Sky and the Confluence. And all these people. So
Yeah, Confluence.
Yeah, it's been amazing actually, just because it was like 2020 was the sort of breakdown of everything, but then something new has built up in its place, and all these new connections and friendships have come about. So yeah, that's been great as well. So yeah, I'm coming out to the US for 2 weeks. I'm going to be first at Elementals Gathering in Missouri, and then I'm going to Texas to do a podcast with Alex Zek. I'm going to be sitting down in his studio with him, so yeah, excited for that. And then I'm coming to California, where I'm going to be doing this event with you guys. So yeah, the idea with the workshop, well, Paul has been a fan of what I've been doing for quite a while. I've done some consultancy work for her in the past, and she definitely is one person who really appreciates the value of what I'm trying to bring to the table. And so this is a collaboration with Paula, because she's doing more like somatic embodiment exercises, whereas I'll be delivering information. And so the idea is, we're going to combine those two practices, the delivering sort of top-down information, but also exercises to really embody it, because it's important information, and it's really about alchemy, which is ancient natural science, a spiritual science common to all ancient civilizations. It's not my theory. I'm not coming here to present my theory to people. I'm bringing knowledge of ancient science, which anyone can go and verify for themselves. And a lot of it is in direct contradiction to modern science. So, as you'll know, like modern science is this whole edifice of theories that we're conditioned with from birth, at school, in the curriculum, at university, in the media, in science fiction. There's this whole edifice of science which is presented to us, and what I've found in the 20 years since I finished my PhD, I've put a lot of that stuff to the test. I've really scrutinized it, and compared it to the ancient understanding, like what
Mm-hmm.
people knew before modern science came along.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what my book is about, and that's what my workshops are about. So they're about helping people to reframe their understanding in terms of ancient science, which is based on fire, air, earth, and water, instead of modern science, which is based on a lot of abstract ideas and mathematics, things that are kind of intangible and hard to prove, or impossible to prove in a lot of cases. So anyway, that's quite a lot. But so that's kind of what I do. It's like the alchemy of science. I'm helping to transform people's scientific understanding to something that's more practical and empowering, and spiritual. A spiritual science, because modern science has abandoned spirituality completely. It's like when you're indoctrinated into modern science, the message is you don't need to look at any spiritual or religious traditions. Just dismiss it all. There's nothing good in there, right? Science is everything.
Atom, you talk about the atom, and that how that this theory that is presented as fact is informed by philosophies that have their own agenda and their own worldview, and that worldview includes a sort of soullessness. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, because I didn't even really know what the soul was, until I actually learned about the soul through music, because I kept hearing people singing about the soul, or talking about the soul, or as the soul music, right? Or selling your soul, all this kind of stuff, right? But in science, I never heard anything about the soul at all. And it's because actually science is a soulless creed. It's based on the idea that there is no human soul, there is no spirit, and there is no God or creator. And to replace all that, they've created this thing called the atom. And the atom is like built into all modern science, whether it's physics, chemistry, biology. We're told that everything comes from atoms, everything is made from atoms, everything is made by atoms. In a way, the atom has replaced God. And so that's kind of one of the main, theses that I'm putting forward in my book, that the atom is kind of an idol that replaces God. And yeah, so it's big stuff, but there's definitely been an awakening happening in recent years to this. People have started to realize that science they've been told is not that useful, and it doesn't really give you any power. And it's because it's designed that way. It's very disempowering to think of yourself as a soulless, godless, spiritless blob of matter. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, and I see so much problem with that. It's essentially a global worldview at this point, centuries old, built on top of just theories or perspectives that can leave a lot of people disempowered and can justify so much negligence and ignorance and bad treatment of other human beings, because they're just this collection of energy with it's you can throw out morality in terms of your behavior if you're the people that are disseminating and holding this worldview. So Stephen, I kind of want to go a little bit meta in terms of, it seems like you're talking about science, but I think in a lot of ways, but I think you're pointing to a worldview or reality architecture that has become mainstream through the centuries, that is based on a lot of falsity and made up science based on very shaky evidence or data, and that affects politics, that affects capitalism, that affects science, that affects healthcare, that affects the educational system. And I'm convinced that there are about 10 or 12 families that basically own quote unquote material earth, and that they have this lust for power and control, and essentially are vampires of the rest of humanity. Does that feel true? Because it seems like what you're saying is pointing to something like this.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm not clued up on like who really runs the world and that kind of thing, but certainly it appears that it's all throughout the nations are all controlled by the same people. Because the school curriculum, university curriculum are basically the same all over the world. In terms of the fundamental science that's put forward as consensus truth. So the question is, who decides the consensus? Because most of the teachers and professors and stuff, they're not the ones actually deciding what is consensus. They're just taking on the consensus and wearing it because because they have to, as part of their job, they have to adopt the consensus. But who is deciding that consensus? It probably is a handful of families. They say like the Venetians, like the Roman Catholic Church, because things like heliocentrism was put forth by the church. In 1822, the Pope declared heliocentrism as being fine for teaching people and talking about. But whereas before that, it was a heresy. These kind of decisions, they come from the church and they sort of flow out from the church, because the church is supposed to be a spiritual authority, supposed to be proclaiming truth. And then the first thing you realize when you start reading the Bible is the church isn't proclaiming the truth, right? They're contradicting what it says in the book. And I don't know why that is exactly, but the church in a lot of ways does not proclaim the truth of the book that it holds sacred. So
I think it's bonkers that a man named Yeshua and Mary Magdalene and his tribe basically were preaching common sense, like be kind yourself and others, don't steal, don't trespass on people. And then somehow, somewhere along the line, you have this whole institution, empire, obsessed with money and land, and are justifying murdering people that don't think like them and calling them heretics, and justifying murdering and exterminating all these people in the name of Christ. Like and the fact that people don't see that and go along with it just shows how vulnerable humanity can be how vulnerable humanity can be. It doesn't make common sense to go murder people in the name of this man named Yeshua, and somehow here we are, and I see that in every aspect of our reality. And do you think that there is this kind of agenda to limit true knowledge to the masses, and that these because you're disputing essential aspects of the reality world view for many people, and even calling in Einstein's theory and questioning gravity. Like, what are people to do with questioning all of reality? Because your teachings do put you in this place of, wait, gravity isn't real, so like that might create some cognitive growth opportunities.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the thing with gravity, I may as well explain that since you brought it up. But things obviously fall. Like apples fall from the tree, which was the idea where Newton got the idea from. Things obviously fall, but where Newton then took that and generalized it into 3 dimensions and said that must mean that all objects with mass attract other objects with mass. Right? That's the theory of gravity. It's not just that things fall, it's that things attract other things by virtue of their mass. And that just hasn't been proven. You would expect, like, in one way you'd expect like balls on a court to like roll towards each other, or like mountains which have lots of mass. Mountains should be attracting rocks towards them instead of rocks falling down the mountain. They should be attracted to the mountain. People say, well, what about friction? There's too much friction. But even if you go into a frictionless environment like on the ocean, you would expect boats, like loose boats, to just like gravitate towards each other,
Like
go together,
magnets,
their
like a
mass. Yeah.
magnetism.
If the theory of gravity was correct, then all objects should attract all other objects in all directions. But that's actually never been proven satisfactorily. So I'm just making the point that there's other explanations for why things fall that don't actually require this force. And the reason that it's so important is because the whole model of the cosmos that we're taught in school, like the Big Bang, the heliocentric model, the moon orbiting the Earth and the Earth orbiting the sun, and all this and everything, is all based on the theory of gravity. So if the theory of gravity does not stand up to scrutiny, then the whole entire cosmos that we've been taught to believe in doesn't stand up to scrutiny either. So it's a really important point for people to get, But I would say I'm not taking away anything that isn't real. And I always point this out. It's like everything that you see with your eyes is still real. Gravity is not something you see with your eyes. It's a theory that you believe in. I'm only criticizing theories, but reality, as far as I'm concerned, is fire, earth, air, and water, and it's as real as it gets. It's reality is still real.
And ether, you've mentioned. Is ether part of that?
Yes, the ether is the sort of hidden fifth element, or the quintessence. And the best way to understand ether is that ether is the medium of space. So again, we go back to science. What we're told is that space is empty. They call it a vacuum, or empty space. And then empty space is populated with atoms. And the atoms are just kind of floating around in empty space, and then they bind together with different forces and stuff like that. So that's kind of the model that we're told. But ether is actually a medium, a fluid medium. Ether means that space is not empty. It means that it's actually a fluid medium, something capable of flowing and vortexing. And so when you accept ether, and now ether was the standard accepted mainstream view of science before Einstein came along. Kelvin and Descartes and Maxwell and all these like famous physicists pre-Einstein all knew that ether was real, and it's been shown to be real in experiments as well. So again, this is not my theory, but the ether was thrown out of science at the beginning of the 1900s completely. It used to be the first element on the periodic table. They took it off. They don't want people knowing about the ether. And so the modern science appears to be a big effort to remove the ether from people's consciousness.
Okay.
But it's really important that we know it's real, because it is actually where we are, where we come from. And it's like, it ties everything together, literally. So, it's, again, really important stuff.
Eileen McCusick of Biofield Tuning, my wife works with her, and she talks a lot about bioplasma. Is this connected to ether or not? Do you
bioplasma?
know?
Well, the biofield, and then there's plasma. So the thing is, like, plasma only recently became a term in physics. So originally, plasma is the liquid of your blood, the liquid component of your blood. That is the original meaning of the word plasma.
Okay.
But then physicists adopted it in the 1930s to mean a superheated gas. All right. So if you take a gas, you heat it up to the point where it's like glowing. So it's it's got a lot of fire in it, or a lot of electricity in it, but it's also still a gas. That would be a plasma. By physics definition.
Okay.
Yeah, so and plasma, you can do lots of interesting things with plasma. It's like a sort of fusion of fire and air.
Got it. Oh yeah, you spoke about the feminine and masculine aspects of the elements. I think fire and air is masculine going up, and then water and earth is the feminine. So we have fathers.
Yeah.
And the earth and
Father
the water.
Sky, Mother Earth. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Question for you. Do you believe in a benevolent God or source or spirit that unifies all of creation, or where is your spiritual perspective there?
Yeah, so I mean, I've definitely come to a more kind of a Gnostic view, a Gnostic Christian view, you could say.
Same, same.
So, yeah, it's and Gnosticism for me. I mean, people have all kinds of crazy ideas about Gnosticism. They think
Hmm.
it's like you reject divine revelation and you worship the demiurge or something like this. It's like I don't even believe in the demiurge. Like, no, it's nothing like that.
Okay,
For me, like
okay.
Gnosticism is about coming to God through knowledge of nature, right? Because nature
Gnosis.
is God's handiwork. The human body, the way I see
Yeah.
it, is designed by God. Like every plant, every tree, the nature, the cosmos is God's handiwork. And so by
Mm.
studying it, learning how it works, and appreciating its beauty, we can get to know God in our hearts and have a relationship with Him. And reading scripture is part of that. And I love reading the Bible, but I don't trust churches at all. It's like, but don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I mean, the Bible is a really good book.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, just there's wisdom to be found in there, and it's
yes,
important stuff. But I'm not drawn to any religious group or Catholic, Protestant, or anything like that.
yeah,
Um, yeah, so that
yeah.
and it's sometimes the hermetic. It's sometimes called hermetic as well, which
Mm,
is
mm.
um, basically the same as Gnosticism. It's like you find God through knowledge of natural science.
Right.
Um,
Right, right, right. And I love the concept of gnosis. Like, for example, people ask me, do you believe in aliens? I say, no, I know they're real. I don't need to believe in them for them to be real. I've communed, interacted with on different frequency spectrum, from disembodied, non corporeal, high frequency uh, communing, and I've actually seen. So yeah, I don't have to believe. So I love the concept of gnosis. It's like you can know God just analyzing this like flesh suit, like what designed this, and the fact that the sun blesses up all of earth, and it's the perfect distance so that we're not burned alive and we're not frozen, and that coincidentally apples grow on trees and we eat them and love them and enjoy them. I mean, that's all proof to me of some benevolent, intelligent architect going on here. So
yeah.
yeah, I was curious because, and how does all of your research and your findings and in a sense your unveiling of the lies that or the agendas, like how does this affect your personal life? Do you feel like, is there an anxiety, like why is the world being sold a lie, or like how does this affect you and your everyday life, all these things that
Well, I tried not to talk about it for a long time. I tried to keep my mouth shut and just focus on music. But, COVID and all that stuff just, COVID left me with nothing to lose and actually
Mm,
nothing to do except express myself. Right, basically just tell my story.
yeah.
Biblically it would be called testifying. Right, just testify your life. What have you seen? What have you witnessed? What
Mm,
do you know?
mm,
Testify because it helps others.
mhm,
And of course, I knew my testimony is going to be upsetting to a lot of people,
mhm,
and so I tried to put it off for as long as I could. But and I didn't just go mouthing off on social media all the time. I thought, no, I'm going to actually write a book. I'm going to make it engaging and funny and personable, but I'm going to explain my whole position on science as well.
yeah, that's it, the
So
fool's wisdom.
yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
did. Yeah.
yeah.
But then since I published the book, I've been making videos, just diving into like different themes from the book. Um, and yeah, there is some anxiety a lot of the times. I do get like a lot of, well, I say a lot of hate, but it's actually, in percentage wise, it's not a lot. It's like 2-3%. I do get a lot of praise and a lot of gratitude from people, and
Mm.
a lot of positive engagement, which I'm super
Hmm.
grateful for, because it is a lot of work. So when people come at you with respect and positivity, it really means a lot. Because the ones who come at you with hatred and try to bring you down, they can really sap your energy. Uh,
Mm. Yeah.
um, so yeah, but it's just part of, if you want to express yourself, you have to be prepared to take a bit of hate. Um, so yeah, but I've been through stages of thinking, oh, I need to change the world and fix everything. And I don't think I'm there anymore. I think the world is the way it is, probably for a particular reason. I mean,
Hmm.
the Bible says that Satan runs the world, essentially, right? So, in Gnosticism, this idea is like the difference between the earth and the world, right? It's like the earth is created by God, right? It's right at the start of the Bible. God created the heaven and the earth, right? So, the earth was created by God, and everything in it created by God. But the world is man's world. It's the world
Hmm.
of people. It's the customs and traditions and systems of the world, which are all man-made. And
Hmm.
when they say Satan runs the world, what it actually means is that really evil only exists in the hearts of men, and that is the hearts of evil men that actually run and control the systems of the world.
Hmm.
But the world wasn't made for evil purposes, but that's just the way it is because of human nature. And honestly, I mean, maybe I'm getting a bit old now, but I can't imagine good people ever running the world. I just can't. I can't imagine that. How the hell would that work? Uh,
Yeah, well, the guys that come out and say, "Hey, we're all one and we're all in this together," usually those guys get murdered. You know,
yeah,
it's like, and they were
yeah.
just saying, they were just preaching unity. It's a mess. And I like this concept of the pleroma. That I like to think that Earth, as we experience in this dimension, it's just part of the chapter of the infinite story of creation, and the multiverses and multi dimensions. So it's kind of like a school for a lot of ways, and I like to think that we all come from and we'll all end up back on the throne of unity consciousness inside the pleroma. I like to think that it helps me, and I see that as truth. What do you have that hope, or?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think there's ultimately goodness behind everything. Light overcomes dark. I mean, we were talking about the sun earlier. I mean, I'm 48 years old now, and that's 48 times the sun has gone round the sky. And yeah, I got to say, like every spring, when the sun actually triumphs over the winter, I mean, it almost moves me to tears now. I'm just like, I can't believe it's happened again. Like every year, the sun overcomes the winter, and the butterflies and everything the beauty comes back. It's like, I feel like that's just such a sacred thing about this realm, is that light always overcomes darkness, but
Mhm.
darkness is always gonna be there, though. It's I don't know if the world, like the earth realm, will ever be like completely harmonious and united. It's pretty hard to imagine, but just because of human nature, because I think we've been given the freedom to do what we want. Like in the Genesis story, like Adam and Eve are given the freedom to disobey God, right?
Mhm.
They're given everything. They're given paradise, and it's like, you can be with God, you can walk with God, you can talk to the animals, and live in paradise, or you can disobey God and eat that one fruit in the center of the garden, right? And it's your choice. So,
Yeah.
you know, I think it's just human nature that the world's always going to be run by the people who disobey God, if you like, or go against natural law. But
Mhm.
ultimately,
Mhm.
light will always overcome. So
Yeah. Yeah, I like to think that there's light, and then there's the absence of it, and there's goodness and the absence of it. So in our dualistic entanglement, we think that the darkness and the evil is autonomous and independent. like the devil could forever deny its source. But I don't believe that. I think the devil can only temporarily say no to truth and beauty and love, and that the experience of hell is a break away from truth, beauty, love. And so rather than give all this power to, for example, a vampire is informed by its disconnection from source, and it doesn't know how to connect to God, so it has to feed on other people's source. And then the compassionate view would be that these kind of vampiric entities are they're just hurting sparks of life, and they're so hurt and broken and disconnected that the only chance they have at life is to steal other people's life force. But then that takes some of the significance of evil away, such that it's like compassion but with intense boundaries, because vampires are not allowed in my space, in my family space, and you create that empowered unity consciousness that doesn't allow for that, but that can also have compassion. That's what brings me a sense of wholeness and trying to deal with the insanity of the world. I would agree with that. It's interesting how evil is live backwards. The word nice.
live is evil backwards. It's inverted.
Whoa, I've never thought about that.
Yeah, because it's like we can just live and be happy. That if you do like fasting or something, you do like 7 days, you're not even eating or anything, but somehow you're just living every day, just breathing and drinking water. All you need to do to just live. You know what I mean? But evil is like to go against the natural order, to disobey God, as it were, and put yourself, and follow your own baser instincts. Some people just take it really, really far. So it's not that evil doesn't exist, but there's just not an independent source of evil in the earth, right? It's a behavior, it's a freedom of choice from human beings to act against the natural order. But I don't think there's like a source of evil in the world, as it were. I align with that. I do align with that. I'm interested, for myself, for those watching that want to receive the positive benefits of your worldview. I know you've said that alchemy is more qualitative, and that a lot of our kind of soulless modern science that is in some ways inherently manipulative is more quantitative, and it's more intellectual, fact, quantity, data obsessed. So could you speak a little bit about how alchemy is more qualitative, and how could people benefit in terms of their well-being, in terms of peace and sanity, and managing their own anxiety and existential despair? How could your teachings bless people up? What does that look like? Well, yeah, that's a good question. I mean, well, on qualitative versus quantitative, again, it comes down to the four elements. The four elements: fire, earth, air, and water. You can talk about them endlessly just in terms of their qualities. So if you take fire, for example, heat, light, purifying, it can be destructive. There's lots of things fire can do, right? It's and same with water. It's about emotion. Wetness, like cleansing, like healing. These are qualitatives, or qualities of each of the elements, and I've got lots of slides that go into the qualities of each element. But when you start to extract the qualities of each element, you realize it applies to everything in your life, and it just makes things much more simple. So your body, for example, the way we're taught about the body, like in terms of like cells, we go to biology class and you're looking at these little cells and all these little parts inside the cell and everything. And then you go to chemistry class and they tell you it's all molecules, your body's just all molecules. And then you go to physics class and they tell you the molecules are made from atoms and made from particles. So you've got this quantitative like mess of your body is just like trillions and trillions of particles. You can't even count them. And they're all just hanging together by magic forces and stuff. It's absolutely an unfathomable problem to sort of grasp your body with all that quantitative science. But when you just look at it qualitatively, you're like, okay, so fire, earth, air, and water. Like the earth is cold and dry. That's the qualities of earth. So your skin, your bones, like your muscles, things that are cold and dry and solid, that would be the earth of your body. Your teeth, right? That's earth. And then you have water. Okay, well, what are the waters of the body? Well, you've got saliva, semen, sweat, blood, cerebrospinal fluid, bile. There's all these like liquids that are in the body. They are the waters of the body. They're different kinds of water, and they all have an emotional function. So water corresponds with emotion, and all the waters in the body are essentially your emotional. It's how you perceive your emotions is through the waters in the body. And then air, well, of course, air, we breathe air, we speak through air. Air is the medium of communication. We wouldn't be able to talk to each other without air.
Right.
It's how we sing, how we, make music. Air is a big part of it as well. Air is to do with our thoughts. Also, it's like thoughts are usually written in air bubbles, right, in little clouds, for a reason, right? Because the thoughts in our mind are like clouds in the sky, right? They just appear and they sort of shift and change form and stuff. And then there's the fire, which is really our body heat, our heartbeat, our divine spark. It's really, the body starts to become much more understandable when you just think of it as the four elements all mixed together in one, and you can just get amazing insights from that understanding alone, and that's something I'll be diving into quite deeply in the workshop. So I think it's an incredible load off. There's lots of things that you no longer have to be afraid of as well. When you let go of believing in modern science theories, there's a whole bunch of fears that just disappear. And actually that's one of the biggest selling points, I would say, for it. Like if people say, well, why shouldn't I believe in viruses? It's like, well, because then you never have to be scared of viruses ever again, right? That's a pretty big selling point. It's a lot of weight off your shoulders.
I'd say.
So it's like that with all of modern science. Once you disconnect from it, there's fears that just evaporate. So it lightens the load. It's liberating. It gives you a more solid understanding of your body that you can relate to. Because fire, earth, air, and water are all relatable. They're all real. Every human being on Earth has access to them, can feel them, work with them. So when you reframe things into understanding in those terms, it's just much more empowering. That's really what I'm trying to get across.
And Stephen, what's your hope for your readers and for those that experience your music? Like, what are you trying to transmit? What's the benefits you hope to share with this expansive, fear-reducing knowledge?
Well, it's just since I left my job back in 2010 to do music, I've just been kind of wanting to give value to the world, to create things that people value and that have some kind of enduring value. And for a while that was just music. I was just creating music and that was it. But I was researching in the background, and when I got to a point where my understanding became really clear, I experienced a kind of enlightenment when I came out of my indoctrination, thinking of everything in terms of physics. And when I came into thinking of it in terms of alchemy, it was really like a true enlightenment sort of situation. I just wanted to share that. So it's just about sharing light. I'm not trying to control anybody or tell anybody what to do. I'm just shining my light, which they can then take and, hopefully it illuminates their world in some way. And the music is like that as well. So the music is all made with love. It's designed for people to have an ecstatic dance floor experience. There's no words in my music. It's all frequencies and 432 and harmonic, of course. And I was going to say about music, because this is a really good example of a theory that works, is music. Because, it's not, when I'm dismissing a lot of these science theories, it's not because they're mathematical theories that you dismiss them, because some mathematical theories are actually legit. And music is a perfect example. So music is a mathematical theory, and it goes back thousands of years, and any human being can apply that mathematical theory and create a song. And every song made is different from every other song that's ever been made. So this one theory has produced all the music in the whole world. It's actually, music is probably one of the best scientific theories there are, because it's so fundamental. It's about harmony and resonance. It's so true. That's how it's able to produce so much fruit and so much good music from this one simple theory. So the rules of music, when applied properly, will produce something that people can enjoy again and again and again. It can make them happy, blissful, ecstatic, and that process just helps them to release energy that's no longer serving them, to have like insights and epiphanies. You'll know yourself, like people have real magical moments on the dance floor. It's a real liberation, and the dance floor I see is kind of like a crucible, where people can go actually to undergo a transformation and a purification and just let go of lots of dross that they've been holding on to.
Yeah, and reveal the gold that they already are.
Exactly, reveal the gold that they already are. I love that.
Well,
yeah,
I love that. Thank you for that. That seems like a very like simple or organic intention and explanation of what you're doing. And it's true, it's like I think of human beings as there's billions of human beings all with a distinct face. That almost proves infinite creation, infinite creativity.
Yeah.
And like music, like you say, there's zillions of songs, like there are millions of songs put out every day. And how is it that using the same theory, it just it takes you to a marvelous, awe-inspiring place to just sit with that. And I like that it seems like your work is just kind of burning off a bunch of extra dross that's not necessary. Much of it seems inherently manipulative and repressive, and leaves those seeing the world through those eyes kind of lost. Like it's like layers of ignorance and of delusion and illusion. And it seems like you're going back to the simplicity of fire, air, earth, water, the ether, to just come back to the simplicity of the miracle that's already here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's it. I'm not trying to like take reality away. I'm actually trying to like illuminate reality, actually show you how real reality is. Because when you focus on fire, earth, air, and water, you realize it's very real. Fire burns. It's like earth will smother you. Water will drown you. Like these things, they are absolutely real. But people talk about electrons and photons and gravity, this and all. You're actually not talking about real things. So yeah, I'm definitely not trying to confuse people or lead them away from reality. Quite the opposite. I'm trying to like bridge from this artificial modern science over to natural ancient alchemical sance. And yeah, that's that's just become my mission now. It's just my life path.
There's this discussion around organic versus synthetic consciousness, and a lot of the AI stuff There's a lot of talk about, extreme sides of people think that AI, is going to be this Cyberdyne Terminator 2 end of, where human beings are going to end up in cages like the Matrix kind of thing. And there's the other side of people who just embrace it and don't have all these fears around AI. What's your feeling with all of the kind of AI synthetic versus organic consciousness and tools?
Yeah, I mean, I like using AI for research and stuff. I've kind of customized mine to be Hermes Trismegistus, who's like, the famous alchemy guru, from history. I sort of trained it to be like Hermes and trained it on all this alchemy stuff, because I pretty much only use AI for researching alchemy, honestly. That's like my main use for it. But I think it's an amazing tool, and I feel very empowered with it. And I liken it to, like with technology, I liken it to like the lightsabers in Star Wars, because the lightsaber in Star Wars is used by both the good guys and the bad guys, right? The light and the dark, they both use the same weapon,
right?
And so they're on equal footing in a way, because it's like they both have to fight with this tech, this lightsaber. And so I sort of see technology like that. It's morally neutral in and of itself, but are the bad guys going to use it? Absolutely, they're going to use it. and the good guys have to use it as well. Otherwise, they'll lose ground. So it's just like those are that's the nature of the battlefield as I see it. It's but yeah, when it comes to things like music, I mean, I haven't done any AI-based music stuff, but I understand a lot of people are concerned about that, and there's lots of crazy shit going on, like there's like whole like AI social networks now with like different AI bots making AI music and then rating it and everything, and it's like all just, I mean, it's wild.
Super wild.
It's like the wild west again. I don't know what to make of all that, but in terms of making music though, I mean, I just like going through the process myself. I couldn't really see me using AI to make music, but I can understand why a lot of people would, if they have an idea for a song but they don't have the ability to produce it or play it themselves.
Totally.
They're just gonna get AI. I mean, yeah.
Totally, yeah. Yeah. One of the main thoughts or my counter arguments to trust the science, or this kind of hyper intellectual, materialistic worldview, soulless, no God kind of thing is, it's like, okay, science, you quantify and you qualify this substance that we call reality, or the substance of reality, but who made the substance that science studies? Where did it come from? Like, science can't answer that. You can study it, you can predict it, you can manipulate it and use it for whatever, but where did the stuff that science studies come from? And that becomes a dead end, it's so I don't and people that don't, it's like I say trust the magic too, like inherently everything going on is magical. Where did it come from? How does it work? The apples that we like to eat, like how does all of that work? And so we specialize and we kind of put everything into these neat organized pockets, but then we kind of miss seeing the totality of it. And what I love about what you're teaching is just go back to the simplicity of that which is right in front of us. I got my dog wanting to be part of the podcast.
All right. Hey.
The pooch says we're getting too serious, so he just wanted to say hello.
Oh, look at that face. Hey, yeah.
Say hi to Steven.
Hello. I love dogs.
Well, I think I'd like to start to land with you, if that's okay. I feel like we've covered a lot of big stuff here.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, we covered a lot.
So a question for you is, and this will be the kind of last big question is, the consciousness, do you think that consciousness is, we're all just swimming in it like fish, or is it generated in our own brain? Or, I tend to think that we're kind of swimming in this huge fishbowl called the multiverses, and that it's all consciousness, and that we tune into it like a light bulb tunes into electricity. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think what you first said about sort of swimming in it, I mean, so this idea of the ether being the medium, but it's so sort of fine and subtle that we don't really sense is there. We can sense the air, we can sense the water, we can sense the earth, but the ether is like kind of so fine that we don't really sense it. So it's kind of like the hidden fifth element. Mm-hmm. But so the idea would be that ether has the property of consciousness. The medium itself is a conscious living medium of which we are a part of. So the brain doesn't create consciousness or secrete, or the brain doesn't secrete consciousness, right? It's like but the consciousness we experience is like the ether's awareness of our physical body, if you like. It's we have a vortex going around us in the ether, the biofield, the aura, right? We're much larger energetically than we are physically,
right?
And yeah, I think our consciousness is really that sort of energetic bubble or torus field in the ether, of which the solid body is actually only like the sort of visible component of it. Someone said that the body is the visible part of the soul. So,
nice,
so your soul has an invisible part and a visible part,
nice.
Because science has a big problem with consciousness, right? They call it the hard problem, and it's precisely the reason why it's such a hard problem in science is because of the materialistic philosophy on which it's based. Because if we are just a bunch of atoms and particles, or just a bunch of meat, then it's very, very hard to explain how consciousness exists at all. But when you think, well, the medium of space is actually conscious itself. It's a living universe, not a dead vacuum, but a living universe. So consciousness is built in from the root level. You don't have to explain it as something that came later. Something that was there from the start.
Yeah,
I think it's a creationism type idea, right, where the universe is a created thing rather than an evolved thing. And I definitely found myself getting drawn to that after I went full time with music. I was just creating every day. Really got in touch with the inner creator and what it means to actually create and to be a creator, and I just started appreciating the creations of nature and realizing that like everything in nature is like the best work of art you've ever seen. I couldn't even hope to make art as good as that, right? There's definitely a creator that is greater than me. And so yeah.
We're just doing our best to imitate what's already here and play in that creative energy. I love that. Well, I love what you're producing and what you're creating as HEDFLUX and as yourself, and I guess to kind of round down is what's your edge right now? What's your growth edge? What's next for you? What's up for you in terms of what you want to create, or another book, or more music? Like, what can people expect to see from you, and what's your edge personally as a human being?
Yeah, well, it's at the moment, I mean, another book is certainly, I think, probably the next big project I'm going to focus on. Music has taken a bit of a backseat because, I got, I've 20 years worth of music now, like over 9 hours worth of tracks. So it's like, sometimes, you do just need to like back off and do something else for a bit. So
Yeah.
I don't have that same edge to like make new music all the time, because I've got so much there that I don't get that much opportunity to play it now. So but I think music will come back around, but it may be in a different form. I may do a different project in the future.
Yeah.
But yeah, second book is definitely important. And just to I'll just make a comment on like the importance of writing books, because a lot of people these days probably think maybe not so important to write books, better to just make videos, you get millions of views, all that kind of stuff. But in my experience, videos, they have their moment in the sun, right? And then they die down, and then hardly anyone watches it again, for a while. But the book, it just keeps on penetrating, keeps on going more and more. It opens up into other markets, gets translated into other languages, and the book has like really got legs. Whereas my videos, I feel like they get their they get their 5,000 views or whatever, and then that's it. Just YouTube is just like, you ain't getting any more views, pal.
Yeah.
But also a book is very personable. People sit down and read a whole book. They really get to know the full picture and really connect with you on a personal level. Video is a bit more impersonal. No disrespect to videos, but books are still king, I would say. Books are king.
Yeah. Yeah. And were you surprised by the great reception to your book? Because you were doing HEDFLUX for so long, and then you transitioned essentially into kind of a whole new chapter. Were you surprised by how much this book was, positively affecting the world?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was a death and rebirth, because I was fully identified with HEDFLUX. It was like my main thing. I was like all in with it. I pretty much, got to the point where I was like, just fully identified with the fiction of HEDFLUX, right? Because it is a fiction. It's, something I made up. And then COVID kind of snapped me out of that and brought me back to reality. And of course, there was no gigs, and, the whole scene just like,
Yeah.
so there was a death process that happened there, but it was like, again, looking at the alchemy, that this is actually a natural part of awakening. Again, we don't get taught about awakening at school, but awakening is a known phenomena. It happens to people like when their old life just falls apart and it no longer, and then suddenly you're confronted with reality and you see things much more clearly. So that kind of happened. And yeah, it was really the only way forward I could see was to write a book, because I had so much to say. And then, in terms of the success, I mean, it's all relative. I had no expectations about what it would do sales wise, but it's doing okay. I mean, it's provided me a decent second income, decent money every month for the last 2 years. Not vast riches, but enough like to be noticeable. So
Yeah.
I'm grateful for that. And but yeah, a second book is definitely on the horizon. I think that's going to be my next big project. But then after that, who knows what.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, thanks so much. That's super exciting, and you seem alive with so much goodness, and I would love to. I'm going to dig deeper into your HEDFLUX catalog, and I look forward to whatever else comes next, um, and I'm excited for whatever writing comes next. I'm really excited to meet you in person, and honestly, I feel I feel honored to be with Paula Pratt and myself to be co-creating this with you. And as time has gone on, I've gotten more and more excited as I've dug into your book and to your music, and just gotten to know you as a human being. And yesterday I was promoting and having conversations with people because they kept looking at the flyers and they were called by the flyers, and there was this really positive energy. And I just am so excited to be able to share my music, and you share your music, and have Paula share her wisdom. She's in her words, she's bleeding edge, not just cutting edge. And she
Yeah.
like you are really inverting what occurs to me is inverting the world the right side up. And it's a much more humble, unity infused, loving, courageous, all inclusive view. And so, to bring Paula Pratt and her bringing you out and bringing me into the fold, with Lummingbird, my wife, it's just what a sweet offering. And I'm just so honored to be a part of this. And I'm really looking forward to it.
Thank you, Alexis. That's wonderful. It's a great honor for me to come all the way out to the western edge of the United States to
Yeah.
to give my gifts. It's a great honor. I'm super grateful to you and Paula for pulling this together. And yeah, I'm really excited for it now.
Good. You'll have some of your books with you, right?
Yes, there'll be a box of books getting shipped to Paula's house before the event, so we'll have some to sign and sell there.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So, know that we'll have some books in person, and just really want to also honor, I feel the seeds of what's happening right now is really like, for me, it's rooted in music and sky and that whole community, and Matt and Owen and Mike Winner and the Alpha Vedic podcast and the Way Forward with Alec, and even Eileen McCusick of Biofield Tuning, like all of these people and these communities and these offerings and these teachings have given me a sense of belonging in a world where, for most of my life, honestly, up until COVID, I had all of these sense of not belonging and not trusting this, and I couldn't put my finger on it. It was based, on intuition and feelings and seeing the madness and the sadness of what a lot of mainstream, laws, or this is just the real world, a lot of this stuff that I didn't really feel a deep sense of belonging. And because of all of these people and these communities I've mentioned, it's really boosted my sense of my own inner GPS, and meeting other people in this world, creating beautiful events, services, tuning forks, elixirs, gatherings, music, books, just when you come together with like-hearted, like-minded, just kind, common sense, humble people that are awesome, it really makes Earth feel like home. And you're definitely a player in this, and so yeah, just thank you for existing, basically, is what I'm saying.
Amazing. Oh, thank you so much, Alexis. Beautiful words. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Good. All right, well, thank you for that, and we'll be seeing you soon.
Yeah. See you soon. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.